Good evening to you all, viewers of Cafdil TV. Just as I promised last week to continue with the discussion we started from there, today we are going to continue with that discussion. In case you missed the first one, you can always get a recap of it on YouTube, Cafdil EDU. You go to the playlist, select Religious Vocation Digest, and then you get part one of what we are going to do today. Remember, we are also live on Facebook, Cafdil Cape Coast. Just as we started last week with the discussion on formation for consecrated life, we are going to continue. Do well to share the link with friends and family, and then also send us your comments at the comment section. Last week, I did the discussion with Sister Martha on my right, Father Moses on my immediate left, and then Brother Francisco on my extreme left. Today, they have joined us once again to continue with the discussion. Sister and brothers, you are welcome.
Thank you.
So this is Religious Vocation Digest on Cafdil TV. We come your way this and every Thursday at 7 o'clock p.m. to do a discussion.
Some congregation you can even come and live in for some period, a week to 6 months, even a year, depending on the congregations. Then there is the postulancy, the time of the asking and the searching to understand what God is asking of you. And then we enter into the novitiate, the time of proper initiation into the congregation. That's why when they enter novitiate, they actually vested with the habit of the congregation, even if it's a habit of probation, and culminating at the end of the novitiate with the profession of the vows. And then the formation continues after novitiate in the years that will lead to the final profession, the perpetual vows. Formation continues even after that, all the way till the person dies. So practically initial formation, that is the aspirancy, the postulancy, so all of this can be candidacy. The novitiate, the post-novitiate initial formation, and then continuing formation after the final vows, a person enters into a formation that is of a lifetime. These are the stages I would say.
Okay. Sister Martha, we know the formation house for diocesan priests is called the seminary, and we call ours formation houses. Any reason for that? We could have equally called it a seminary, because some people out there who do not know the difference still refer to the formation houses for consecrated persons as seminary.
Right. There's a bit of difference there. In the formation houses, religious life, we have formation for the young ones. We don't call it a seminary because they have what we call community living as well. And when we go to the seminary, we have them having formation, all right, but they are not living in communities and living out the particular call that they have. They have their own in the seminary, and they don't live in communities to exhibit whatever they are studying in the seminary information. In the religious life, we have the community living aspect within the formation. That is the main difference.
Okay.
But they are all forms of formation.
Okay. Father Moses, since you are a priest, is there any different information for diocesan priest and that of consecrated persons?
Consecrated persons in general or consecrated priests?
Consecrated priest, so to say.
Okay. All right, then maybe just to clarify a bit more. So even the seminary community is supposed to be a formative community. So the issue community is more or less there, and they are supposed to be there being formed. The word seminary comes from the document that issued the establishment of a seminary. So it's practically a place where we sow to seminate things. So it's seedbed practically from the Council of Trent So that it is. So it's also a formation community where people are specifically formed to become priests in all the dimensions, the pillars that are with which formation takes place for the consecrated person, for the priest, the diocesan priest, and for consecrated persons also, where we form. The formation house is also a place of growing. It's just that not every consecrated person becomes a priest. Some become priests, some do not. Then priests are ordinarily men, so the female consecrated houses, they are not also becoming priests. But there are some congregations that are only for priests. There are some also only for brothers. There are some also that are mixed, even if the canon law recognize those that are clerical and those that are not clerical. But in practice, there are those who are mixed. So the training for a person to become a priest in a consecrated institute or congregation is the same also for the one. You need to have a degree in theology or religion to become a priest, and everybody who has to become a priest has to get that, whether you go to the seminary that is of a diocese or the seminary that is of the congregation. So congregations also have their own seminaries, they have their own places of formation, and the seminary can be just a community, and then the seminarians go now to a college to go and study their theology or their philosophy. So they will live in one place and study in another place. Or in other cases also, they live in the compound and they have also the intellectual formation, so the college studies within the compound where they are staying. But the formation in the seminary is not just about the intellectual aspect, going for lectures, but there are also the spiritual formation, the human formation, and then the pastoral formation. Just like also for those becoming consecrated persons, there's a formation for community, the formation for mission, for the apostolate. There are all these pillars that are always at work. So practically, it is the goal, what we want to achieve, that makes the difference. Otherwise, seminary is a place of formation, just like a formation house is also a place of formation. Okay. One is for training specifically priests, diocesan or consecrated, doesn't matter. Another one is for training consecrated persons, priest or non-priest, it doesn't matter.
Okay. Sister Martha,
yes.
How are candidates formed?
Well,
how they are assessed to move to the next stage and the rest?
Right from the time when they are aspiring, you make them aware that much as they want to come and see and start living their life, we also are studying them to find out whether they are really what we in the congregation want them to be. So right from there, we make them realize that we try to assess them much as they also are assessing us to find out whether God is really calling them into this particular group or whether God is calling them to serve Him generally anywhere. So they come in as postulants, and as postulants, they are trying to, live this come and see. The person is still asking herself questions. Do I really want this? From what she sees and experiences, she's always asking herself questions. And the formator is there to help her to know, let me use the word, how to become a religious. So the rules are given her, and we make her aware. It isn't that we are giving you a rule, but that is how we in our congregation live the religious life. And normally the rules are not anything big, anything so different from life at home. Only that maybe we add a little bit in the light of the gospel and the following of Christ, because we are not just there to follow the congregational rule. And in any case, the congregational rule kind of lives after the life of Christ. So you also bring whatever you have and you study what we are telling you and you try to practice it, in the practicing of it, there may be mistakes here and there. It is the duty of the formator to help you to become aware that I'm drifting to an area which is not acceptable, and then you come back to it, and then we continue living together. We show you how to pray. We show you how to live in community. Not that when there is food, you alone go and you eat all the food, and the rest are high and dry, starving. You take a bit and allow others to take some. So in the formation, we show you how to share, and we also make you learn that life is not only revolving around yourself. You have to relate with others in order to, be a person of service to God. You want to serve God, but you cannot serve God who you cannot see. In serving God, you serve other people who you see. So you have to relate with them. We show them how to relate with others. And then we also make you become aware of yourself, who you are, with certain topics. So that when you know who you are, then you will struggle to become who you want to become after Christ. So it's like we teach you how to be a religious in the formation. That is it. Because you are coming from the world and you haven't been a sister before. But when you want to be a sister, you come and we show you the various ways in which you can become a sister and be useful to yourself, your family, and to the group, those you will be sent to go and work for and with, in the interest of serving the Lord. So basically, that is formation for me.
Okay. Brother.
Yes, I think what Sister has said is in the right direction, but mainly also there are certain dimensions of formation. You call them, as fathers mentioned, that they are the pillars of formation, and we realize that we want to form the person to become a holistic person. So all these dimensions, so we talk about the spiritual life, the community life, apostolic life, intellectual life, even your personal life, your health, and also mainly also the vows you are going to profess. You are formed in those dimensions, and also assessed at the end of the day through evaluation. You assess yourself, the formators also assess you, and some form of judgment is made for you to move ahead, to profess, and also renew as time goes on. So I think basically that is how candidates are formed. And when the community, depending if it's a missionary in character, also that will be brought to bear in the process of your formation. It's also, if it's international in character, it also will be brought to bear on you, and also language. All these things also will be brought to bear on the formation. So that also, I think, that's what I can add to that.
Can you be specific about the language you mentioned?
Yeah, depending on the language of the congregation, sometimes it may be other than English, some French, some use Spanish, okay. And so there's a need for you to have some basic training in that.
Okay. Father, anything?
I think they have said it all. So the formation is according to these dimensions, and you make sure that a person is initiated from all of these angles, and the formator is there to make sure that they are not segmented, but it is a holistic formation that the person grows and the person becomes better. This is what it is about. Yeah.
Okay. Considering the various stages of formation, what is expected of the formatee?
At each stage, so the goal would be, I want to be conformed to Christ. I want to be a consecrated person. So I want to live the vows. This is the goal. So every stage prepares the person towards that. So we achieve some at every step. Age appropriate, I just learned that one yesterday. Age appropriate formation or stage appropriate formation. At this level, this is what we can learn about the vows. Where we move ahead, we learn something more about the vows as we move ahead. So you would expect that in the postulancy, there will be a lot more on integrating the group of persons' information or the individual information into consecrated life in general, the Christian life in general. When they will enter into novitiate, you would expect that it will be zoomed on into the life in that congregation, so that by the time they are professing, they are imbued more and more with it. And then in the post-novitiate, that they are able to now make it become something that is internalized and that they live it out, so that by the time they are perpetually vowed, they are now ready to live it out on a daily basis, what they have been imbued with as a way of life. They are more broad spectrum of things to say, but then at every level, then maybe we can come and let us talk about postulancy alone or novitiate alone. Then we can take time to enter into it. Of course, each congregation also does it differently. So then we can say, in the Franciscan, we go like this. In the Society of the Infant Jesus, we go like this. The goal is always the same. How to arrive there is different formation skills. Yeah. Like they say also in the football, they play different formation skills to arrive at their goal.
Okay, thank you, Father. Sister Martha.
Basically, that is it. With formation, it is very, very, very broad. And as they said, from stage to stage, certain aspects are stressed, and then as you go up, you deepen what has been stressed from time to time. But the main aim is that when you are perpetually professed, you become a religious who is trying to live broader according to the broad base that you have received. Not that you are more prone to one aspect and the other aspect is down zero, but to be a balanced person in all the various aspects through which you have been given the training.
Okay. You want to add anything?
Oh yeah, I think they've said it all. That the little I want to add is that communities are becoming more intercultural. So that aspect also needs to be emphasized, how to live in other cultures, and so the formation should also consider that in the process, how to live with other cultures and make sure that every culture is important. So cultural diversity is very important.
Okay.
That is also has become necessary for communities to look into that. Mm-hmm.
After perpetual profession of vows, is formation necessary? That is continuing formation.
Yes, very, very necessary. That's where even the danger is. Yes, because now you have moved from the more structured way of formation, and now you have to be responsible for yourself and make the right decision, given all that you have been exposed to, you have acquired, and you have experienced. So there, the church or the congregation sees you that you can be entrusted with responsibility. There you are more stable. The assumption is you are also will be more responsible. You'll be entrusted with responsibility, and they can trust that you will do them to the best of your abilities.
Okay. Father Moses, continuing formation.
Yeah, that is actually what we call formation. The other one is practice in the understanding of the church. So in Vita Consecrata, the document by the Post-Synodal Apostolic Exhortation, it insists that the consecrated life, conformation to Christ, so it has to be the total person. Formation has to be the total person. And then in the years from the candidacy, postulancy, novitiate, all the way to the perpetual vows, a person is being prepared to arrive at the point when they are ready for the true formation, that is God the Father forming the image of the Son in the person by the action of the Holy Spirit. So by the time they are doing final vows, solemn vows, they should have arrived at the point that they have been disposed now, ready for God to do the formation in them. So the initial formation is actually a training into what formation is. You are given all the tools that once that initial formation is ended, you have the tools for you to allow yourself that God will form the image of His Son in you. So this idea of religious, okay, I have finished, so I do apostolate, I run my work, I do things, it's not really the target. The target is God the Father forming the image of His Son in you. So initially you have been prepared for it, and then you allow yourself, and you will do that on a daily basis, year by year, until the moment when you are completely configured to Christ in death. Then you can now say that you are ready to live with God forever. Thus, when death is approaching, formation should be intensified, because the final aspect has reached. And that's why in a lot of congregations they are doing all of these programs for those who have finished the initial formation, under 5 years, under 25, and these are milestones that should not be taken for granted. But even formation now, even sabbaticals, and all of these are done so that persons are allowing themselves before. But these are extraordinary things. A week in a year, a month in about 2-3 years or something. But on a daily basis, God does not stop to form the image of His Son in us. And if I allow myself, He would do that on a daily basis. But it will be possible, it will happen only when you have been prepared to dispose your heart for this action of God in you.
Okay. Mr. Martha, now what did you
Sometimes it's unfortunate some of us relax after final vows because we think we have already arrived. But formation, as we say, continues until death. And God still has a hand in helping you to be able to reach the final goal, which is closing your eye to this earth and opening it in the next world. So it's unfortunate sometimes some of us relax, and sometimes even after final vow we think prayer is not necessary. I'm okay, the Lord is present, it's okay. No, the formation still continues. Whatever we have imbibed in at the past, between the initial formation and the temporary period, it still continues. And that is why we have to be serious and internalize what we are being given, so that after final vow, no formator will follow you. But that doesn't mean you are free either. Life still continues in formation, and it is still God who is forming you. So you don't have to tell God to stand aside so that you make your way and go alone. No, God is still should be invited to be in control, and then life goes on as it should be. We know we have weaknesses. Sometimes we give in to our weaknesses, but that doesn't mean the formation has come to an end. Strictly speaking, every day is a new beginning. Every day we begin life. So we have to in actual fact, we haven't finished. We finish when we die. So formation still continues. So those of us who are already in it, let us be encouraged that life, strictly speaking, still continues in formation after final vows. We are, strictly speaking, we are beginning a new life every single day, even after final vows. So let us not rest on our oars and think that after final vow, I am free, so I can do what I like, minus what I have been trained with, the tools that I need to continue to live under the control of God the Father, who in the beginning has sowed the seed of vocation in us.
Thank you, sister. I know there has been instances where novices or temporary professed religious have decided to end it there. That is to discontinue. On the part of formators, at what stage or event would someone be asked to discontinue his or her formation?
When they come in, we make them aware that much as they want to be sisters, we also have to study them and find out whether they actually fit into what our congregation professes. So, even from aspirancy, this message goes through all the time. So they are aware, and they are told to follow the rules, which are not too difficult. And as they are following the rule, we also watch them and we try to correct them when mistakes are made. And there are times when we feel there is some sort of resistance from the formatee. We make them aware. We tell them, this is what I'm experiencing from you. And then we also ask them to try to, model their lives after what they are being told. Now, we also meet them every month for, we call it animation, where we find out from the person how she's feeling in their life. And then we also tell them certain things we have seen that we think they have to try to improve upon. There are some of them who come with various reasons. Some of them are there only to eat. So you see them just eating and eating and eating. And normally they eat very well when there's even a problem. So when it is like that, we draw their attention to it. We don't just ask you to go. And then sometimes you can see that the concentration on food becomes greater than the small duties that they are being asked to do. Sometimes you give them small, what we call employment to be doing, and each and every day we find ourselves asking them to go and redo it, go and redo it, go and redo it. Meanwhile, we explain to them by orientation how the work has to be done. Some of them try, but you see that they are not trying enough, because there is always something wrong with the little things that you ask them to do. There are some of them who come and they find it very difficult always coming to prayer late. You correct them and they keep coming late. They always apologize and then they go back into coming late. Sometimes you believe in them and you give them the chance to be free. Sometimes when this is done, they go overboard. And what they do does not even match with anything like what the congregation wants them to be. So you are trying to ask them to follow this line and they are always found going the opposite way. Everybody goes that way except a few who are always doing the opposite things. And a person like this, we can say, is not recollected. So when we see you like that, we will let you know that this is it, and we'll try to tell you to try to, change, accord, and move with the rest. But sometimes they find themselves doing their own thing all the time, and they are always alone, not with the group. Such a person, we can say, is a bit scattered. We have to talk to her and try to make her become aware of what is happening. But still, they cannot fit in. So when it is like that, we call the person and tell her, this is it, we corrected you, but it seems this is what you prefer. Some of them are true enough to confess that it is true. They cannot move with the rest. So when it happens like that, we have to ask them to leave the group, because sometimes they become more of a distraction to the rest than being supportive to the rest. So when we find things like this, we ask them to go. And sometimes they themselves also find that they cannot fit into the group. So those who are honest enough, when you meet them on monthly basis, will continuously say it. sometimes those who say are honest enough to say it, you think they can make it, so you tell them, give yourself more chance, but if they continuously insist, then they have to discontinue. Now, this is before even you write evaluation about them. Before evaluation, some of them fall out at the immediate stages. But sometimes too, after the evaluation, you make them aware that you have to work harder in this area and in that area and in that area, and you continue observing them. Some of them are able to change, others are not. And there are some of them who carry problems from home. You try to let them forget about the problems from home and concentrate on this life that God has called them to, but they cannot sever themselves from the home problem, and they allow the home problem to take full control over them, so much so that whatever you tell them to do, the problem comes first, and so there's always a confusion in their lives as regards the choices they have to make in the interest of the service of the Lord. So when it happens like that, we have to ask them to discontinue. When it comes to that, if it is just the first stage, postulancy, we inform the parents about it, and we have to help them to, accept what is happening and to willingly leave. Some of the cases are psychological. So when it happens like that, we have to invite people in psychology to come and talk to them. There are some of them who become so close that even the psychologists cannot get into the bottom of whatever is their problem. When it happens like that, then we have to let them go. Sometimes when they have to go, we have to inform the parents that we want them to go through some psychological preparation for the change of life they are now going to live. But some of the parents come in and say they don't need that for their children. We should bring their children to them and we go with them. It is not easy to bring somebody who is discontinuing religious life to her house. Sometimes when you go, if you don't take care, you will even be beaten up by the family members. But most of the time, we try to liaise with them concerning what is happening with their child. Well, with their child. And sometimes we allow them to speak to them whilst we are also listening, so that it will not be so much of a great shock from their parents to accept that up till now my child is not ready for the religious life, so she's coming home and we will receive her. So there is always communication going on between us and their parents and the formatees themselves, and I think so far it has been a nice situation whereby parents are ready to receive their children who kind of cannot make it in the religious life after they have entered for formation. We don't just carry them there into the house. We give them some sum of money that will help them to, prepare themselves for the other life too. Some we give them something, and where we have involved the parents in the kind of life their children are living in the formation house, there is always acceptance for the situation when we take them back to the house. There are times, during times when it is the formatees themselves who have decided to discontinue, that one there isn't so much of a problem. But it is when we have asked them to discontinue, that is where sometimes the parents think we have wasted their time. But we tell them that they have not wasted their time, that whatever it is, we have trained a Ghanaian child in that kind of way. And if the person has truly imbibed something in their religious life, whatever she has imbibed in their religious life, if she takes it seriously, will be able to build her up in the other life as well, and she will continue growing in the Lord. It hasn't been too easy, but it is also part of the occupational hazards of the formators, and we try to embrace it. And I would say it isn't in the interest of the formators to lose candidates like that. No. And sometimes it has some effect even on the formators themselves when they realize that they don't like asking somebody to go, but given the circumstances, the person has to go. It is not easy, and there's no formator who loves that. But sometimes the outsiders read meaning into it like that, and sometimes it is very painful when outsiders read meaning into it like that. But in all that, we give thanks to God, and we accept the whatever people say. Not that we are to blame, but as I said, it's one of the occupational hazards, and in spite of that, life must continue for the rest to also continue their training. It's a pity sometimes it has to be like that. But I think even in all that, God is still in control. And the fact that one has not been successful in being a religious does not mean the person is a failure in life in the world. Sometimes majority of them gain a lot of experiences which will help them to rise up the ladder of success even outside their religious life.
Thank you, sister. That was very deep. Brother, is your story the same?
Well, yeah, I think there are various reasons where a candidate may be asked to leave, or a religious may be asked to leave, but it's all part of the discernment process. It's discernment. We are discerning God's will for each one of us, and how the person also responds to what has been laid down is very, very important. So usually there is dialogue, there is discernment, there is interview. So at the end of the day, when we decide to ask somebody to go, it's not that it's out of the blue. The person has been journeyed with, he has discerned also, and a community may come to that conclusion. So it's something that we believe that God may be calling you, but maybe not be calling you to this particular congregation or to this particular way of life. So maybe God is calling you to something else. And we believe that, at least for now, we know that you have lived with us, you have discerned, and maybe God is calling you to something else. So that may bring about you leaving. Yeah, but sometimes also, they may not live at the initial stage, temporary prophecy. The community must have also spent something on you and given you some form of education, and that also can also help you to build yourself up. So nobody passes through any formation, religious formation, and becomes a stupid person. Let me put it that way. So whatever you have, you can still use it to make it out there, if you really pay attention and listen, and if you don't go when you are always bitter, it helps. It doesn't help. But we journey with you, and we are honest with you in that situation. Yeah, so there are many reasons that will make somebody go, but it's not out of the blue that a formator or the leadership of a congregation will ask somebody to go.
I don't even know what to say. So if the situation is just as Sister Martha and brother have described, why are people still bitter after living the religious life? Friar Moses, those in temporal vows, when you ask them to discontinue, do you take them to their families, or you ask them to go by themselves?
the practicality of it, as in, do you go with him on the day they are going away, or it depends on a lot of circumstances. Maybe the bitterness, if there will be bitterness, it means that a person has not really understood what religious life and the formation is about. And I think that's where the problem begins. A person is convinced that God is calling them. And then he comes to this place and he's convinced that this is the place God is calling them to. Sometimes a person thinks God is calling them. They are not really convinced. They are not sure, but they have come all the way to see. Whichever way, whether they are convinced or they have come to see, those who come and meet also have to be on the same wavelength with you. So the word that was used, discernment, is that process of trying to understand what you are convinced of, what you have felt in your heart, and what we are also seeing of you from the outside, and the experiences we are having of you. Does it match? Does it fit here, or it fits elsewhere? The moment you realize that it doesn't fit here, you as an individual, then you seek another path. The moment we also think that it doesn't fit, we would ask you to seek another path. That moment can be at the level of postulancy. It can be at the level of perpetual vows. They can be also at the level of a person has become a priest for many years, and then he realizes that maybe this is not really, God is calling him to something else. It's part of the process of discernment. So it shouldn't be something that there's the pain there, and we should not we should not be romantic about it to say, oh, God is in control, God is doing everything. No, there's the pain of loving something and then realizing that you love something else, but you have to leave something behind to go for this something else you love. Or you love something else, but you have realized that you can't really have it, so you have to let it be and go and go on with your life. Yes, so now the way also Sister Martha was talking about it, maybe also the level of formation might influence, and it's like you have to take them to the parent and etc. It's not always it's young people, let's say 18, 20 years, 24 years, who are coming. As I said, in my congregation, there's no age limit. So you get someone who is joining the friars, and maybe he has finished university, he has worked a couple of years before they are coming. So it's not now you are going to tell their father or their mother that your child, and these are people on their own standing.
But they can go home and then give a different story as to why they were asked to discontinue. How about that?
What, no matter what, no, I'm not talking about in the sense of the actual practical going. I'm talking about the general sense of coming and then being formed. So it's not as if they are kids and they are not able to pick it up, but these are adults. When I finished the novitiate, the group that was coming after me, one was he was about 60 years, and he was coming. Even when the friars came to Ghana newly, there was a priest who decided to join the friars. A retired bishop can decide that he wants to become a friar or become a monk, or a priest wants to become, or a friar wants to. So there are always these movements that can take place. So the thing is more complex, but let's talk what we are looking at. A young person of 20 years, 19, he has finished secondary school, the classic one, and then he has come. At a point or another, he cannot go on because they chose to, or because they have been asked to. There is already contact with the family when the person is there. So the family is also updated on what is happening. If it has happened that he has to go away, then the family gets to know of it. My style, it's my personal style, is this, that I would go with the person to go and talk to the family, possibly allow them to talk to the family. Whether we are being asked to go or he himself is going, you tell them. And then after, when we come back, then you can go finally. So the family are in the known. I know even in our postulancy level, there's a meeting that is organized once a year of the parents of those in the formation house and the formators. They come to the formation house, spend a day or two, and then they interact with the people. So more and more, the things I explain to them before they enter postulancy. There will be the visit to the family. Before they enter novitiate, there will be the visit to the family. So By the time they have become friars, the family becomes part of the family, and then we descend together. Once you realize that this is not the way, you deal with it, and then you go also to the family when there is the need to go in the circumstances as it allows.
I know some people out there will disagree with what you have shared somehow, but then when they do, we definitely come back to you. Sister?
What could be a disagreement? Let's launch one and see if we can work it out. Be
Father,
their spokesperson.
Let's take this scenario.
Okay.
A Ghanaian is outside Ghana for formation, and then this person is asked to discontinue, and the person, they book a flight for the person, he or she comes alone. Just imagine this person is in pain, and he or she is traveling alone, thinking of what to tell the family, whether they have been informed or not. Do you get it? At least if there is a companion, do you get it? Somebody to lead the person, travel with the person, to meet the person at the airport, and so on and so forth. But then if this person is left alone, that's emotions that comes with it. This is what somebody has expressed. I think when we did the first episode, we mentioned a bit of formation, and then a message was sent to that regard.
Yes, so a person also can be sent away just abroad, and then he has to come home, and they will prefer that they come by themselves without another person, because they want to be by themselves while they travel so they can think. Both ways goes. So you evaluate the situation, and then you see what is the best thing to do in this situation. Sometimes going with a person is the good way to go. Sometimes letting them go by themselves is the good way to go. There are no straightforward answers here. So what is important is that there is dialogue between the person and there's the pain of having left, but sometimes also a person is leaving, and finally they know that they are going to find the joy of life. So it's not gloomy always like that. The reason why a person might be coming out is always many-faceted. Some people, for a simple thing, they have been asked to stop. But maybe God protects them, because there might be even big things that the Lord doesn't want to come out. And then because they went away, they have gone to now realize something. We just had a program for those who are beggars of our communities here in Ghana. And the program was animated by one who used to be a friar, and he's no more a friar. So it doesn't mean that because they have left, that is the end. I saw in Nigeria, Bishop had a meeting with all the ex-seminarians that the diocese had ever had. Big people, small people, all of them together. So this is what can be done. You even have you can have association of them, make them friends of the congregation, etc., etc. Some will enthusiastically come and they will contribute for the growth of the congregation. Others will not want to have anything to do with them. Others will be in between there. You will see each situation and you see what to do. But the situation is not as gloomy as the way sometimes we might be make it look like. Even in Ghana, there are friars who have left us, and then they are always passing around. When they are passing by, they come around. When they are having their wedding, they will invite us to come for the naming ceremony. Others, okay, they might have difficulties. They will ask for advice, etc., etc. Others, they are doing well and they help out, and they send their contribution also. I used to tell one ex-friar that you have to, pay us back, because we have helped you, we have trained you, so you owe us. I mean, as a joke, you make like that, but it's the rapport that is established when a person is with us that is important. So whether they go away or they remain our brothers, they remain our sisters, and we want to treat them like that. It's like a person who was divorced. It doesn't mean that they have nothing again to do with the person they once loved and cherished.
Usually
so they might not
they are not in good terms.
Sometimes also they are in good terms also. It's possible that they can be in good terms. It is possible. So that's my point.
Okay.
For us, with the going to the novitiate in Nigeria, for instance, even if they are 30 years old or 35, I mean, they have left the country and they have gone to another country, all in the interest of becoming one of us. So if it happens that they have to discontinue over there, we go there. Normally, I'm the one who is sent. We go there and we help them to leave. And then we come with them to Ghana. And then when we come with them, we inform the parents. As soon as we get the message that they are going to discontinue from Nigeria, we inform parents. And then when we come to Ghana, we tell them they have arrived. And then she lives with us. Some of them, when they come, they want to go home immediately. If the opportunity is there, we go with them to the house, you know, to tell the parents what happened. And most of the time, they themselves, they know what happened. And then we give our money. And after our money, they also talk whatever they want to say. And then the parents, normally they are grateful for us coming down to them. And how they put it is this: "You be funny fifi, na say when tum na wa ba, or you want do there, yes one be fie." So for us, we take it as a human face. We give a human face to religious life in those terms. In fact, that's the main reason, and it makes the whole thing more healthy, and we also have our peace of mind. So as for going to Nigeria to the membership, that is what we usually do. And for some of them, when they come back, we suggest to parents to give us time to allow them to go through some psychological help. Some of the parents refuse, some of them are happy about it, and the candidates themselves are also happy about it. We allow them to go to their psychological whatever, and then at our expense, and when they finish, we help them with some capital, and then we go with them. When they are novices, you know, normally they don't use phones. So when they come back, we have to give them phones, buy new ones for them, and they go with it. That's what we normally do.
Thank you, brothers and sister. Let's do a bit of experiences, then we conclude from there. You've been formators for quite a number of years now. Brother, can you share your experiences so far as a formator?
Yeah, I think it's a privilege ministry that has been entrusted to me, or to anybody who will be a formator. It has its joys and it has its sorrows. We continue to pray for the grace to be able to continue this ministry. So I think so far I would say that it has also been challenging and has its joys. So I thank God for this opportunity and this privilege, and I pray that God will continue to give me and indeed all of formators the grace to be able to continue such ministry.
Can you share with us within 1 minute anything that made you sorrowful as a formator?
Oh, I think you see, when I don't see somebody, I see somebody has been given all this opportunity and it just doesn't make good use of it.
Okay.
Yeah, it pains me. It pains me that eventually we have to let the person go.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Father?
About my experiences so far, I think it has been good. As it has been said, there are the difficulties, there are the challenges, but also there are the joys. The joy, especially of seeing a person grow, the joy of seeing something changing. Sometimes there can be also deception there, but in the end you see that one way or the other a person is becoming better, and there is nothing that gives joy than that. Then also there are those they can resist, so you exercise your patience to it full, and then there can be also others who think that formation should be differently done, whether the candidates themselves or other professed or even the superiors. So you have to deal with that. There can be some painful things, but once there is dialogue and you explain more and more that the way I'm doing this thing, it is because this is the mind of the church, and then we try to follow. A lot of times understanding comes on that. But there is no doubt about the fact that if you accompany a person and you see them grow and become a better person, it means that even the things that I couldn't do, I can help another one do, and that's definitely a good thing.
Thank you, Father. Sister Martha.
It's a joy to even see somebody passing through your hands, and the person comes out and is so responsible, and you can't even see a speck of negativity, kind of in the person's life. One feels so happy. It's like God has helped this person to be fulfilled, and you also feel fulfilled, But sometimes when they come back and the negativity outweighs the kind of positive things that has been pushed into them, one wonders, did I do my work well? God, what is happening? Please help her, and that kind of thing. And sometimes when you hear the questions thrown to you, they know you are the formator, you were her formator. Then they come and stand before you and ask you, who was her formator? They are standing before you and they are asking. Then your heart turns. It's like, they know that I'm the formator. They can't even direct the thing to me, and they are saying it in the air as if what were you doing all this time when the girl was here? You mean you couldn't form her well? And this is what we are seeing. Sometimes it's very painful, but in all things we give thanks to God, because I see it that they have cause to complain. Sometimes you have a group, and losing one member is not easy for the members. I know it pains them too, but most of the time it's the formator. The whole thing is pushed over. But we thank God. There is a God who keeps us going in spite of times like this. And maybe we don't have to be too sad about it, but we are human beings. Sometimes you feel it, you feel sad, and you give all to God and ask that at least He should continue to, help those who are ready to be helped in whatever situation they find themselves. And for those who couldn't still make it, sometimes we are very happy when they are given another chance, and we go in even to, offer advice here and there, because we feel there's something good in this person, and if she works on this, she'll be a wonderful person in the group. So we offer advice. Sometimes, in spite of all that we do, you still come to zero that she's just not capable. She wants to fall out. It's painful, but when one couldn't deliver, you find another person delivering all the way. So we thank God for whatever happens. And I think the formation work is a responsibility that is given to some people, and what they look out for is always come out with your best. Come out with your best. But actually, formation is not a work that majority of religious like. But if it falls to your lot that you have to be, it's a responsibility. You do your best and leave the rest to God.
Amen. Brother and Father, in 30 seconds, your final words.
Well, I thank you for this opportunity for us to bring this across to people, and we pray for more vocations to the religious life, to the vocation of the brother, the priest, and the sisters. So that's what I would say.
Okay, Father Moses.
The future of consecrated life depends whether formation houses are still at work or not. So to be there is really a privilege. You help in creating the history of your congregation, and there is nothing as honorable as being a formator in any congregation. That's the best thing that can happen to an individual, and I'm glad I got that.
Mr. Martha, Yeri.
we pray for more vocations into the religious life. Because these days, if the youth are already possessing Mercedes-Benz at the age of 15, I don't know what will happen if they are 22 and 29. Is it then you are going to talk to them about poverty? It won't make any sense. So we pray that God will touch the hearts of the youth to learn to, make themselves available for the work of God.
Amen.
Amen.
So viewers, join me in thanking my guests for today. They were here last week also discussing formation. Thank you very much, Brother Francisco Gillett, CSC, a Holy Cross brother. Thank you very much, Friar Moses Arthur, OFM Conventual. And to the most honorable Sister Martha Davis, OLE. Thank you very much for coming to share this knowledge with us, especially our viewers who are still discerning on their vocations, whether they should join the religious life or married life. So thank you very much. On behalf of my executive director and the entire crew at Cafdil TV, we are very much grateful to you for coming. And to you, our cherished viewers, thank you for joining us. We do this for you, and we are glad that you always have the time, that 1 hour every Thursday, to join us do this discussion. I know that you've sent us your questions and then your comments and everything at the comment section. We'll be glad to come your way again next week for another interesting episode of Religious Vocation Digest. Have a good evening.